What I do want to talk about today is the importance of the people around you in your life. I know it sounds cliche. Oh yeah, Amir, of course, it's important to have people. In all honesty, it is probably the most important thing in your life to have the right support group around you. And I'll tell you a story. Obviously, you guys know me, my past. I've had an interesting, colorful past. Many different hats I've worn in my life. I've had really, you know what? If I had to summarize, I've had fun experiences. Yeah, they've been fucked up, but they've been fun, and I've learned a lot from them. And one experience in general, long time ago, I was young. I'm 35 right now. I think this happened when I was 18, 19, so fairly young. And I got stabbed in my arm right here, right bicep. I still have the scar right here. And it was at some house party, and basically we got into a crazy fucking fight. Beer bottles are flying everywhere, batons are out there, baseball bats. That gang called this gang. It was a melee, man. It was a fucking movie. Like if you take a script from a movie, or like random groups of guys get together, it's like, you see the movie like News Anchor with Will Ferrell, where all those people show up on the street, the different gangs? I kid you not, exactly like that. Random motherfuckers appearing from left, right, and center, and everybody fighting. Anyways, I got stabbed in my arm. I guess through the adrenaline, I didn't really notice, and thank God it wasn't like a massive fucking knife. It was like, probably like 7-8 inch knife, something like that. So, required just a little bit of stitches, nothing special. I didn't notice. My friend, came down, and I was already fucking in the moment fighting, and I carried a baton back then. Anyways, fucking insanity. But the one thing, looking back in hindsight, I look at all the things in my life, I've been to beyond. I can't even think of how many street fights. Like my knuckles are still broken. I have 2 broken knuckles, and they're fixed. But I smashed in the head numerous times. Holy fuck, man! I'll make videos for each of my crazy stories eventually. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about, looking back in hindsight, and this applies to me now. This applies to me going in the future. Looking back in hindsight, the commonality I had among all my interesting, colorful adventures is I was never the one that really fucking instigated anything. For the most part, we had idiot friends of ours that started instigating, and then obviously, since we're together, we have to go back up their asses. And that recurring theme always came up. That particular night when I got stabbed, it wasn't me that started the fight. Fuck no. All I knew was like, oh shit hit the fan. One of my boys is getting attacked or whatever. And like, obviously, man, I'm in there, man. Plus, drugs involved too. So that changes your fucking judgment. And that's the thing, man. The reason why I bring up this story is, it happened a long time ago. It may not be applicable to you. Obviously, we all have different paths that we come from. But it is applicable to how you carry yourself today. Very, very applicable. Because you can have the best intentions in your life. You want to have a successful business. You want to get in better shape, better relationship with your partner. But the reality is, with the group of people around you, if that group of people isn't the right group of people who promote you, who look out for your best interests, I don't care what willpower you have. I don't care what fucking courses you take. I don't care how hard you work. You are the product of your environment. You are the motherfucking product of your environment. And I've always said this, man, the fastest way to whatever you want to achieve is being the dumbest person in the room, not being the smartest. My goals in life, I should say my number one focus in life always with me is, if I start something new, whatever it is, I want to be the stupidest person in the room. I don't want to be the smartest. If I'm the smartest, what do I have to learn? Nothing. I got nothing to gain. I want to be the dumbest ape in that room, and I want to learn from people. And this is important for whatever you want to do. So I always tell people, you got to really audit your circle of people around you. And I'm not telling you just cut them off cold turkey. Maybe that's the best thing that you should do. I don't know. It's up to you to figure out. I'm not here to tell you what to do in your life. I'm just here to tell you my personal experiences. But you got to really audit your life, man. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you realize, oh shit, the parents that I have aren't really looking out for my best interests. Does that mean you tell your parents to fuck off? No. But that means tell your parents, hey, I put down my foot. This is what the fuck I'm doing. Adios, amigo. or you realize that your partner isn't the best person for you, or you realize, hey, shit, my friends, they're not really that great. They're weekend drinkers. They're not really in the entrepreneurial mindset. They're not really thinking outside the box. Fuck, the last time they ever picked up a book. You know what I mean? And so that's the thing, man. Like, people really forget is like the most important thing for success. And people draw this to luck. I don't draw this to luck. I draw this to the environment. Now, obviously, I would say luck has a small role to play. But if you actually look at luck, luck is where you are in your environment. You know, for example, why Silicon Valley has the most, I would say, well, we'll put in quotes for this conversation, most successful startups. Proximity. People call it luck. It's not really luck. It's proximity. If I'm in the valley, I'm in the proximity of all these entrepreneurs. I'm in the proximity of thousands of VCs. And so this boiling pot, this cross-pollination just gives me better odds of achieving what I want to achieve. Same thing if I want to become a better MMA fighter. If I'm in a gym and no one's really doing MMA fighting, how am I going to get there, right? Or if I then go to Red Star in Montreal, I'll get fucking better. If I join any like legitimate full-time MMA gym, yeah, I'm going to get fucking better. And this is what you need to do. You really need to start auditing your circle of people around you and to figure out and determine, is this inner circle the best for you? Is this environment the best for you? The whole idea of free will, in my mind, is an illusion. I think there's a spectrum, obviously. There's a spectrum of the things that you could, to a certain degree, control. But the reality is your environment controls everything. Where you live matters. Who your partner is matters. How your parents raised you matters. All these things, like what's your background, what's your culture, these things add up. These are variables to determine roughly in the spectrum of what type of free will, in quotations, you have determines how you behave. But the great news about this is you can alter all this. You can control your environment a lot, I would say. Like, for the most part, you can control your environment. It doesn't mean you can control your environment 100%, but hey, man, there's a lot of things you can do to control your environment. You can control where you live in your city, at least, and if you have to move, fucking move, man. You can control who your partner is. And I always say, oh, well, you know, I don't want to quit my partner. Listen, at the end of the day, if you have a toxic fucking relationship, you leave your partner. That's it. Fucking in the story. Kids or no kids, I don't give a fuck, man. You know, look after yourself, number one. How can you be a good partner or good father or good wife or good whatever to your children if you're fucking miserable? You can't whatsoever. Like, end of story. Period, exclamation mark. And so there's many, many things you can do. Your friends, you look around. What kind of friends do you have? Like I mentioned, are they weekend warriors? You know, what are they doing? Do they have any ambitions? What do they care about? You know, and if you realize, oh shit, man, my friends are in the same boat as me. They're not really pushing themselves. They're not really motivated. They're not really thriving to be something as opposed to the status quo. They're just here as is. They're happy. Well, of course you're not going to succeed with these types of people. Doesn't mean they're bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they're not the best for you for what you want to achieve. And if you're watching my channel, I'm assuming you don't want to be the status quo. Who the fuck wants to be the status quo? You know? The word normal and average, I hate these words. Why can't you just be normal? Normal. Do you see society? Who the fuck wants to be normal? Jesus Christ. Normal. Normal is death. Mediocrity is death, man. We human beings, you got to think about where we come from. I don't care if you're black, pink, Chinese, purple, or brown. We all come from the same spot. Or I should say, we all come from the same type of background, which is hunter and gatherers. We lived a do or die lifestyle, man. We went out there, and who the fuck knew what we encountered out in the wild, in the elements. Crazy creatures, little tiny spiders. If they bite you, you die right away. We were literally living on that silver lining, that fine thread, as the Buddhists say, of life and death. But this is the experience of life, as Joseph Campbell talks about. This is living. Rousseau said it the best. The last time that we were free, when we were hunters and gatherers. We didn't have governments. We didn't have any types of society. We didn't have any regimes. Literally, we lived off the land. We had a small tribe. and the law was the land. We just had extended family. Truly, if you look at the decline of the freedom, I'm talking about true human freedom, is agriculture. In his book Homo Sapiens, Harari, he talks about this. Agriculture, both from a nutritional aspect, obviously, how can you compete, game meat and and wild caught fruits and vegetables, and meat is 100 times healthier than anything grown. But as soon as agriculture started happening, then we started creating society around agriculture. Then we started inflicting violence because we have to control our land and protect our land. And then we started creating our society and the governments, etc. But going back to the living experience and going back to mediocrity, who wants to be mediocre? Each of us in our genetics has the potential of wanting to experience life. Joseph Campbell also had a saying, when Bill Myers interview, he talks about, do you have faith? He's like, I don't need to have faith. I have experience. I have the experience of living. I have the experience of breathing. I have the experience of love. I have the experience of pain. This is what people, when they say what's the meaning of life, what they really actually mean is, how can I experience life more? Because what most people end up doing is, I wake up and I'm 50, I have a kid or two, I've had the same job for 20 years, I've had the same routine, and this is why I'm depressed. The natural state of man is to experience brand new experiences on a day-to-day basis. That is the natural state of man. And when I mean by man, I mean human beings. I just use it for the sake of the conversation. That's the natural state. To wake up, to go hunt, to enjoy, to break bread, to wake up again, to see new interactions, new experiences, new dangers, right? Living on the edge. That's a true experience. And then we were nomadic. We were travelers. It's true. Rousseau is right. It's true. That was the last time we were free. But going back to my story and going back to the point of this video is, really start auditing your environment. And that's the number one thing that you can do to achieve whatever you want to achieve, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great weekend. Peace out.